So if you've been watching this channel for a while now or are here for the first time, and if so, welcome. Stick around, we'd love to have you. Then you're probably also no stranger to the world of decluttering. People who call themselves minimalists or simply practice it and incorporate some of its principles into their life, they all talk about decluttering, myself included. In my experience personally, there's been a huge benefit to be gained from decluttering the excess and working to be really intentional about what I bring in next. I mean, there's a whole lot more which we can get into in future videos, but where I've seen the greatest impact of decluttering and its benefits is in my wardrobe. If you guys are new to my channel, I talk very openly about how I used to be a full-blown shopaholic, and not even 2 years ago, my closet looked like this. Needless to say, I had a lot of clothes. So from the beginning, I've decluttered probably over 2/3 of my closet. Since then, I have added a few new things, always practicing a one in, one out kind of method. But I gotta say, decluttering my closet has really been instrumental in changing my shopping behaviors, changing my consumption habits, and even went so far as to help me define and find my personal style. So let's get into what I learned from decluttering 60% of my closet. For those of you who don't know me, welcome. My name's Christina. We talk all about intentional spending, intentional living, and how to get the most out of what you've already got at home. Because we don't like to waste our money here. We like to build wealth and look good while we're doing it. The first thing I learned from decluttering my closet was that, yes, less is more, but it doesn't have to be zero. If you guys have been following me from the beginning, then you know I started this journey with the aim to get out of debt and really change and address my shopping and consumption habits. Along the way, I also discovered minimalism and actually took it a little too far. Basically, when I discovered minimalism and really started getting into it, I thought I needed a 30-piece wardrobe or less in order to be legitimate and to find that happiness that everybody talked about so much. Turns out that never really ended up being the case for me, and I go more in depth about that experience in this video. But when it comes to your decluttering, and if you're aiming to declutter some of your clothes, yes, it's important to get rid of the excess, to get rid of what you're not using, wearing, what no longer fits, what you don't feel good in, and even pieces that you're holding on to because of guilt. There's a whole lot of reasons to let go and get rid of that shit. But it doesn't have to be zero. Yes, the more I decluttered, the more clarity I felt I got, and the more empowered I felt whenever I was able to let go of something. It really helped me get real with myself. It pushed me to have tough conversations with myself and to build some confidence and define what I actually knew I liked and used. And what I realized is that feeling and that sense of empowerment in letting go is not going to be found in a certain number of pieces. So if you love clothes, and I think a lot of us do here on this channel anyway, then just know in your decluttering you may not necessarily need an end goal to reach. Some light switch isn't going to go off when you go from 31 to 30 pieces in your wardrobe. And what I really learned is that it's more about the feeling and not so much the number. Number 2 is that you'll find your style uniform. Look, I would never recommend over shopping and then decluttering the excess to really find your personal style, but in my experience, that's kind of what ended up happening. But every time I decluttered, I started to notice a pattern where I was keeping certain things that were all sort of very similar styles, similar cuts, similar shapes, and getting rid of everything that didn't really fit into that mold. I'm very much a jeans and a t-shirt, blazer or moto jacket type, and I don't really stray too far from that style formula. So with everything I decluttered, I was really able to define my personal style and see it very clearly with everything that remained. Number 3 is that if you declutter too fast, you'll probably regret it. Okay, I'll admit, even though I feel like I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to my decluttering, sometimes I maybe went a little too close to the sun in terms of my minimalism.
But I fear I may have girl bossed a bit too close to the sun.
And I ended up decluttering things that I regretted. In many cases, I decluttered too fast. And I will admit, this is a very fine line to walk, because if you start hemming and hawing, someone corrected me. I say humming and hawing. Which one is it? Anyway, if you start ruminating and sort of having a conversation with yourself too long over every single piece, I think it'll really slow you down in your declutters and end up really holding you back. Because that's when those feelings of either guilt or buyer's remorse or it costs too much, I can't let go of it, all those sort of feelings start to come in really quickly. So I would would say you do have to be careful and very mindful when it comes to this point of decluttering. And I will say a lot of people really thrive in a one and done sort of overnight declutter, like packing party style. But for me, that didn't end up really working. I found sometimes I would end up getting very decluttered drunk and just get rid of everything I could. It felt great at the time. And then maybe a week later, I'd be like, oh, maybe I did really like that. When my focus and motivation was really on the number, that's when I found I made a lot of decluttering mistakes and decluttering regrets. Which is why, again, I really encourage you to declutter by feeling and declutter energetically. Like, yes, the actual decluttering process can move fast and it's really helpful when it does because you can get it done and over with. But I was almost decluttering at a speed because I wanted to punish myself for having bought too many things or thinking that I had too many of the same in a whatever category. So make sure you know what your motivation is around your decluttering, and that way you can define your own pace and the speed at which you want to take it. Tip number 4 is storage is perfectly okay. When I first started getting into minimalism, I kept hearing a lot of discourse about if you store things away, then you're not letting go, you're just organizing. And yeah, I kind of see that point, but like also if I don't want to let it go, then that's up to me. Like, who cares? And if I want to be tidy and organized and have aesthetic and very clean and satisfying looking storage solutions, then that's what I'm gonna do. A lot of times when you do declutter and you're trying to be a little bit real with yourself, a little bit honest with yourself, it still can be difficult to let go in that moment. And that's where I started to adopt the rule of either challenging myself to use it pretty much right away or storing it away and revisiting at another time. And if you want to go to the Container Store and find a really cute way to do that, go for it. Number 5 is that empty hangers don't need to be refilled. Before I really got serious about changing my shopping habits, getting out of debt and all that stuff, I used to declutter a lot actually. But what would always end up happening is I ended up refilling those hangers that I felt so proud to have emptied at the time. So what I started doing over time is decluttering the hangers along with the item. I would either donate them or give them to friends and family. And I would always keep a couple of backups because hangers do break. But there is some value to be seen in empty space. If you do end up decluttering something off of your hanger, maybe take some time to think about if it's really worth it to fill it back up again. Sometimes yeah, sometimes no, but I think it's really about enjoying some of that empty space that you've created. Number 6 is that guilt is a waste of time. We talk a lot about guilt on this channel, guilt of letting go, guilt of bringing in, and you know what? No. I think women are criticized enough for what we decide to enjoy and share and use, and the last place we need more criticism is from ourselves. I spent a lot of time feeling guilty for the money I wasted, for the lack of self-control I felt, for the waste that I've contributed to the environment. I think there's something to be learned from that, but allowing yourself to ruminate over it and punishing yourself for it over and over and over again, no, that guilt does not get to live rent-free in your head. I think decluttering is about growth, it's about letting go, it's about making space, finding ways to get your time back, and help you find ways to really get genuine joy back from your wardrobe, or whatever it is you decided to let go of. So yeah, you can have your oh my god moment or I can't believe I did that moment, but acknowledge it, let it go, and move on. Number 7 is you probably don't need that many duplicates, but duplicates are still okay. This is very much personal to me because I have like 4 or 5 white t-shirts, 4 or 5 black t-shirts. I have a whole bunch of pair of jeans that pretty much look the exact same but different to me. And this is still something that I'm still exploring within myself, like how much I'm actually wearing these things, how much I'm actually using, what I can store away as like a backup if something gets damaged. I'm still trying to find what a reasonable amount of duplicates for me really is. But at the same time, maybe that's just my style. That's who I am, that's how I shop, that's how I like my wardrobe to be and be curated. So I think what I'm really getting at here is that having multiples of something is totally cool, but also it's really up to us to kind of figure out how much of that we're actually gonna use. I think what I'm really coming to terms with my wardrobe is that it's okay to have some fun, it's okay to spend some money, enjoy some of those things, but to always be really honest with myself about how much I'm actually using those things. And honesty doesn't have to be mean either. But with like white t-shirts, look, we get pit stains, I spill coffee, I need more than one. The next thing I learned is that if you don't use it, you lose it. And my solution to that is play some dress up. Aside from work, I don't really go anywhere because I spend the rest of my time making YouTube videos. But it's actually in those YouTube videos where I find a lot of opportunities to play dress up and have some fun with my wardrobe. You guys really seem to like it when I do like the shop your closet stuff and recreating Pinterest outfits, that type of thing. And I am more than happy to do more of those because it means I get another chance to play with my closet. So this again can be a really great solution if you feel really maybe about your clothes or even guilty about certain clothes. Play some dress up, make a TikTok, take a selfie, find some time and just play with your clothes. Even if I wear the thing for 10 minutes and then end up changing back into my sweats, at least I got some use out of my wardrobe and some play, and really took that time to feel good about myself. But one of my greatest criteria when it comes to letting something go is, have I worn it in the last 6 months and do I plan on wearing it in the next? And if I haven't or I don't, then it means I'm letting it go. If you don't use it, you lose it. And my final point is that only you get to decide what enough is. I don't know if enough even really exists, to be honest, because needs change, style changes, all of that stuff I think is very dynamic and very fluid, and I think we'd all benefit from being open to that. When I first started with this whole minimalism decluttering thing, I was really looking for an end game, a final number that I would just be satisfied with forever. And I realized over time that's not really how that works. In my experience, I find enough is really a moving target. But at the same time, the underlining ideal in finding enough is really being satisfied and finding contentment with what you have right now. Like, I find nowadays when I want to add something into my closet, I don't really look at it from a perspective of lack. I try not to look at it from a perspective of scarcity, like a perspective of incompleteness in my wardrobe. My wardrobe and I, just like you, are complete already. Adding in new pieces, I don't know if it will necessarily make your wardrobe more whole, if you kind of get what I mean. It's whole already, it's good enough already, and I really try to look at adding new to my wardrobe as something that can be joyful, fun, abundant, and less so from a perspective of, oh, now I'll finally complete my wardrobe, now I'll have the perfect wardrobe. When I shifted my perspective about my clothes, about what I wanted to hold on to and what I decided to let go of, when I took the scarcity and that threat away, suddenly I felt the feeling of enough a lot more often. Really, a lot of my shopping I found actually came from a constant sense of scarcity and feelings like I wanted to try to fix something. I was never satisfied with what I already had, never satisfied with myself right now, and I would use my clothes and my stuff as a way to communicate my worth and importance. And now I really feel like I use my things as an extension of joy, of self-expression, and contentment that I feel. So when it comes down to it, I really think enough is all about perspective. But if it comes from one of scarcity and trying to fix something, then I don't think you'll ever find enough. So those are some of the things I learned after getting rid of 60% of my wardrobe. If you've been doing any decluttering in your closet, let me know some of the things that you learned about yourself, about your style, about your wardrobe. Leave it in the comments down below. If you like this video, please do me a favor, you guys, and give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. It really helps get my video out to more people and is really the best way to help build this community of awesomeness. And with my decluttering, I learned a whole lot more than these 10 things, so let me know if you guys want a part 2. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Bye!